All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And for those of you that are saying, how did we miss the Stags League Wine Cellars event? Well, you know, this was a private event. Every once in a while we do something here that's not open to the public. And some good friends of ours just happened to have a group in the store the same night. And these guys really appreciate nice wine. So I said, you know, hey, Marcus is in town. And they wanted to do an event with us. And since we were already booked, I said, well, we've got some guys here. You know, the head of the new hip-hop, funky, fresh, fly DJ convention are in town. And they probably would like to try yours out. No, it's a professional group. Anyways, Marcus was great. And this is an historic property in Napa Valley. When you look at, you know, all of the big names in Napa, this is the guys that won the Paris tasting of 1976. Some of the people that put California on the map when these blind tasters tasted all the great first gross of Bordeaux against some new guys on the block. And this vineyard at that time was only 3 years old. Hey, some of these French people believe you can't make a great wine from a vineyard that's under 25 years old and blind. They picked this young vineyard wine from Napa Valley over their established wines, vineyards 20, 30, 50 years old or more from Bordeaux. So, like I said, the shot heard around the world. They made a movie about it called Bottle Shock. Warren Winarski, the proprietor of this great property, and he went through the school of Robert Mondavi. He was one of the first winemakers at Robert Mondavi Winery, then opened his winery up in the early 70s. And today, well, Marcus has just taken over, but big shoes to fill. These two, like I said, very old vineyards in Napa, planted in the 70s, Fay and SLV, and well, some of them obviously have been replanted since then. You've had phylloxera, but they still have some old vines in parts of the vineyard here, and they use some purchase fruit also. This property is no longer owned by Winarski. It's owned by the folks at Chateau Saint Michel, and well, like I said, a lot of the fruit, for the Artemis even, 20% of it comes from Fay and SLV, so not a whole lot has changed. They make about 60,000 cases of the Artemis now, which they bumped the production on that wine up a little bit, but still the quality in, well, the 2012 vintage is just outstanding. We started out with a little Sauvignon Blanc, and this is, well, a new wine to me. I don't know how many times I've ever had their Sauvignon Blanc from Stags League Wine Cellars, but very good. The Aveta. And this comes from their two main ranches, the Danica Ranch and Oak Knoll. And 70% of the fruit here is estate grown. And they've been working with some of the growers they purchased fruit from for 30 years. So 20% stainless and the rest barrel fermented. And it is Sauvignon Blanc with a little Sauvignon Blanc Musque clone. It's got a bit of that muskiness to it, which you get from that clone. And nice tropical fruit, bright citrus, and a really exceptional vintage 2013. The Aveta is the water god. They seem to have named all their wines after various gods here. Fresh tree fruit, kind of spicy notes of green herbs, kiwi, tropical fruit, really zesty on the tongue, leaves the tongue salivating for food. One of the qualities we love about Sauvignon Blanc, some briny, minerally notes there at $27. Excellent juice. The Chardonnay Karia up next, and this is from the Arcadia Vineyard and the Danica Ranch also. And you get some nice mineral notes from Carneros, some lovely juicy fruit here, and they only use about a quarter new wood. So a lot of people have dialed back the wood, a more balanced and elegant style of Chardonnay. You get a little fresh kind of buttered popcorn note, some vanilla bean creme brulee to the white peach and apple, lemon drop candy fruit. Smooth and creamy on the tongue with a nice texture of skim milk, and some like toasty oak spice on the nose, on the finish. I like a little bit of spice, a little bit of oak spice in my wine here. All right, and then on to the Artemis, which 2012 is a vintage you can close your eyes and point and get great wines. And even wines like this, they make 60 to 70 to 80,000 cases. 20% of the fruit here from those two famous vineyards, SLV and Stay. And this is a blend of 8 different AVAs, so you really see the palette and range of what you get from Napa Valley in this wine. Very balanced wine, very forward and drinkable. Lots of currants and cassis-berry fruit, some tobacco spice, some loamy, earthy notes, some cocoa powder. Really nice, balanced wine, but these 2012s you could keep for 10 years. Even the entry-level wines like this, excellent juice at 58 1/4. 2011, the SLV and Phase. 2011 was a difficult year, but these wines opened up nicely. They make 15,000 cases of the single vineyards and the cask combined. So depending on how the vintage is, because the cask is a blend of the best of SLV and Fay. They made no cask in 2011, so obviously a difficult year. This is the first cask was made in 1974, so one of the iconic wines of Napa Valley. The SLV is the soils here are different, more volcanic red soils, more gravelly and powdery poor soils. So you get redder fruits, more perfumey and elegant. And then some nice cocoa powder and licorice, some roasted chestnuts in this wine, black tea, clove spice, really nice big flavors in the nose here, and showing through on the palate here also. This wine's got a lot of tannins. I mean, it's a big wine. 2011s, I don't know if you want to keep them for, 20, 30 years, but this wine will definitely last 10 years, even better on the second day, kind of smoothing out. Lovely balance in this wine. But you notice that peppery spice, and definitely the sign of a cooler vintage here. The 2011 Fay, a nice amount of fresh earth, kind of dusty, peppery notes. And even though the vineyards right next to each other, like I said, very different. The Fay's more based on a creek floodplain kind of soils, alluvial, more gravelier and chalkier, and a lot of different clones in Fay also. This was kind of an experimental vineyard. And a good amount of loamy, earthy notes to this wine, kind of dark plum and currant berry fruit, dark chocolate, some tobacco spice, and really smooth and velvety, a little softer, and drinking nice right now. But this wine, again, both of these wines should age for a decade, and excellent juice. And then we had the Solare, which this is also one of the properties owned by Chateau Saint Michel, a joint venture between Piero Antinori from Red Mountain in Washington. And, well, Marcus used to make this wine for 10 years, so that's why he brought a little bit of this along. This was the last vintage he made, 2011, a blend of 77% Cab, Merlot, Cab Franc, and Malbec. This wine's got a lot of that Red Mountain dirt on the nose here, very distinctive. Some bitter cocoa, espresso, a lot of dark spices, currant, raspberry fruit on the nose, really thick and chewy on the palate. This 2011 vintage, really cool. These wines got great structure, an array of that earth and dark spices through the finish, really well built, a firm hand of acidity here. This wine will last for decades in your cellar. Most excellent juice at $75. That's what we had to drink with our friend Marcus Notorio from Stag's Leap Wine Cellars. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.